What do you think are the three things you would tell founders who are considering selling their business?
Um, I think the first one, which probably sounds like a cliche, really is businesses get bought, not sold. All right. And so, in terms of actionable, there it is about saying what could you be doing to be more discoverable versus what could you be doing to actually, actively doing an outreach to people to sell the business. Right. Again, depending on where in the stage of that journey you are. Um, the second piece of advice is different buyers come with very different motivations, right? So, understanding both at the category levels, like, hey, what does a PE fund look like versus what does a bootstrap company look for, is useful so that you have a framework in terms of saying if this is the outcome that I am trying to get to, then what are the doors that I should be knocking at? Right. But even within the category of buyers, each buyer might have a different motivation, right? Like if a PE fund has just recently acquired a company in a parallel space to yours, maybe they have a very different motivation to somebody who hasn't invested in your space, who's trying to seed that space for themselves, right? Similarly, for a large company that's losing out to a very fast growing competitor, you might be that adrenaline boost that they need. Uh, to kind of accelerate things for them, right? Versus for a company that is already growing very fast and you're like incidental to that growth. So I think it's just very important to understand the nuances. And I think the third piece really is that uh, the sooner you can figure out that, and the sooner you can communicate and get to a point where you're not at cross purposes and you don't feel like you're sitting on the other side of the table, the better it is for everyone, right? So be clear about what you're willing to give up and be clear what are the cards that you are okay to open, right? Because opening some cards is important for building the trust in that relationship. And it's going to be the hardest relationship to build trust with, right? And for the whatever time that you do land up spending if you get acquired, you will constantly be second guessing yourself on like, hey, am I on the same side of the table? Am I on the other side of the table? So, whatever you can do to make sure that everybody can feel that they're on the same side of the table, the better it is for both parties.